And then let's hit live here. And it takes a little second for it to finally go live. It's the funniest thing with this delay, always. But it has,
Right.
hold on, as we say. Oh, good. All right. So we are live and with our beautiful sister Chalyce, who we had the privilege and honor to meet. Oh my goodness, is it already been 2 years, Chalyce?
Yeah, I think almost three, honestly. We're going on 3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
And and as you know, this is about you sharing your beautiful story, your journey, how the intention stick and the tree of life has impacted your life from that divine day we all met with our dear sister, Dr. Lynn, and just all of the beautiful souls and stories and connections and divine timing that's taking place. And this is you sharing your story. So we're honored to be here with you. And thank you for allowing this to happen. We are so grateful.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. You know, that's an honor in itself. And I remember the first day that we met because Len was so excited. You know, she picked me up from the airport, and we have to say, whenever Lynn gets a vision or something in her head, it's not just, oh, let's go check it out. It's like, we're going. You know, she scoops me off the plane every single time, and she's like, hey, you know, we're gonna go check out this yoga place that I do yoga. That's how I was introduced to Kundalini yoga. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, you know, and so then years later, you know, she's like, hey, I met these two great people that are in alignment with what we talk about, and I think it's amazing, and we just need to go. So literally when I met you all, that was like coming from the airport. That wasn't just, oh, we'll see him tomorrow. She's like, now we have to go.
That is Lynn, and that's why we love her, because she, yep, those downloads. And by the way, where are you in the world? Where are you physically located?
Right now I'm in Florida. I'm from Golden, Colorado. I lived there many, many years, and I left there about 4 years ago, like kicking and screaming, saying, no, no, no. But the universe like catapulted me out of that state down here. And ever since, in the past 4 years have just been packed. I mean, I did my Kundalini yoga teacher training level 1. I wrote 2 books. I published research. I mean, I've just boom, boom. Every year, it's been something incredible. So yeah, but I came kicking and screaming.
Tell us about a little bit about your books and what you're doing.
My passion through my own health challenges with digestion, I own an essential oil company called Essential 7, and I started encountering people, mostly young women, with digestive challenges that was diagnosed with bulimia or anorexia. And some of them I was like, I'm not buying it, you know. So there was this family that reached out to me through mutual friends, and they're like, our daughter is just really in a bad way. And they flew me to where they were, and I had all my oils, and I just started tinkering, you know, trying to figure out what worked. And within 24 hours, we got her to be able to eat and to hold down food. And from there, it exploded into Healing GP Naturally, which I co-founded with Kathy Atkins, who has gastroparesis. And it was the same with her. A friend told her about me. They flew me out there, and she hadn't eaten in almost 2 months. And she had been sick with this for 20 some years. And so the proper supporting the body and the right foods and just giving the body what it needed, you know, within a couple of days, I had her feeling so much better and eating. And she ran a big printing company, one of the biggest ones in New Jersey at the time. So I spent 2 weeks with her, and during that time, we created the Facebook group Healing GP Naturally. And I just kept listening to what people were saying and what they needed. And off my own experiences, I created this whole line. And from there, then I was gifted a grant to do the research project, which is the first one ever done for essential oils for gastroparesis. And that was published a year ago in December. And then this past summer, PubMed, the National Institute of Health, picked it up. And now that I get a little giddy because my research is on their website, you know. So, you know, I wrote the book, and I had a dear girl with gastroparesis. She helped make it more readable. I'm very technical, and I'm about the facts because my background is medicine. I'm an IB certified medical assistant. So I want the science to prove that this is not woo-woo or, you know, fake. I need solid facts. So she softens up our books. And so we have the Healing GP Naturally for gastroparesis. And then last July, we published our second in the series, another first for moms to be that have gastroparesis, and we self-published those. So, I mean, with these things just kept snowballing, you know. So I feel really blessed with that. And what makes this so extraordinary is that 20 years ago, I was in a car wreck in Colorado and have a traumatic brain injury. So I went from going to school full time to go as a physician assistant and working, ironically, working with people that had developmental disabilities, either from head trauma or birth. And so I was working already with these people, and to go from that to not being able to do anything. I couldn't dress myself. My cognitive therapy, my thinking was horrible. My speech was horrible. I couldn't drive. I mean, I went from all of that to this. And, you know, they were throwing medications at me and giving me all these diagnoses and saying, this is as good as you're going to get. And because of the injury, I wasn't getting the signal to eat. So I lost a whole lot of weight, you know, and I had stomach issues. I mean, this all went hand in hand. And so a friend of mine saw me a year later in the same chiropractic office that I worked at. And he couldn't believe how I looked and what had happened. So he took me under his wing, and we did homeopathic remedies, we did nutrition, we did essential oils, and I did better, a lot better, but there was still this issue with cognitive thinking and such. And I started getting back into the oils and having a client base just one-on-one. And that's how I met Dr. Lynn, was in Scottsdale. She came up to me. We were at an integrative medicine conference, and I had a booth there with the oils and stuff. And she came up and she spoke briefly and took off. And then she came back again. And I said, you know, we really should talk. And, you know, she was being Dr. Lynn with 8 million things going. She's like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you're sweet. Here's my card. We'll talk. But it just kept going, you know, it just kept really telling me. So I sent her this big long email and didn't have a response. And then the next day I contacted her because we were going to be leaving that evening. She's like, I'm on my way to taking my son to school. And, you know, like she tells people, she wanted to tell me no. She's like, no, you know, but she couldn't. So she came to where we were at, and I had my client with me, you know, dear Winnie Schmidt and her family. She's a miracle on her own. And as Len and I talked, she's like, I think we need to get together. And so, within a month, I was flying back down there. And that's when she whisked me off to Kundalini Yoga, which was the worst experience of my life. It was horrible, and I talk about that in my book, and she laughs every time because she thinks it's so funny because the
We,
whole
we know what you're talking about.
We say,
yeah.
The first time we went for that, we were like, that wasn't easy, but it was a gift. I can tell you that.
Right. I mean, but with my head, with the TBI, it was horrible, horrible. But she jerked me up all smiling, rushed up to Savik, and Savik looked at me and he's like, "Oh, sister, you're all jacked up." I mean, he could tell, and Lynn's like, yes, she is, And so that was my journey. That was almost 11 years ago. And it took me that long to be able 4 years ago to even do teacher training. And because of Kundalini Yoga, it truly saved my life. I mean, I still have a lot of challenges, but it helped me get more of my cognitive thinking back, my speech back. It truly was a blessing, and Dr. Lynn, a blessing, because her and I have worked together a lot, and worked together at summer solstice, and her and I, volunteering at first aid, and using the oils and bringing in non-traditional with traditional was amazing. I mean, we had 2,000 people at that event for 10 days. And when her and I would work, we would have 50 to 60 patients, in a 4-hour time span that we volunteered, but we just, kept doing it. So for me to go from that to not being able to do anything to where I am today, that the good Lord blessed me with that injury to teach me, to help me to do what I needed to do.
That's,
absolutely.
wow, what truly miraculous journey. And again, I love when you shared that the doctor said, nope, you're only going to be like this the rest of your life. And something's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We're programmed to think we cannot do this, or you're going to be what we tell you you're going to be, and that's it. And no one questions that.
No. And the medications, I mean, my son was 9 years old at the time. I couldn't have been on all these medications to keep me focused, to help me relax, to put me to sleep. I just learned. I learned how to cope with the oils and what would work, and now with Kundalini Yoga. So instead of stressing about it, I'm like, okay, I know this is how it is. Sometimes I can't sleep. Sometimes I can't process, but I'm not going to sit and be a victim of my circumstance, And I know some people can't. I mean, it's all a mindset, and I know some people can't help it, but I couldn't be that. I'm like, God put me here to do something, and this isn't it.
Like how you just said is actually profound, how you mentioned that the good Lord actually, you saw it as a blessing to have been put through adversity, your circumstance of this car accident. Most people wouldn't see it that way.
No, and in the beginning I didn't. I mean, it's like grief. There's all these stages because I lost my life. I lost what I knew. I went from being able to run a chelation clinic. I helped start the first IV chelation clinic in Denver. And I went from 40 patients a day and 5 nurses underneath me to where I couldn't cook or even remember going into the bathroom to get dressed and 45 minutes later truly losing that time, walking back out not really remembering what happened, memory lapses. So my journey with the practice and mindfulness and surrounding myself with people like you all, it's like, yeah, it was a blessing. Yeah, I could have been a PA. I was going to work in the veterans hospitals. That's where I wanted to be. But this has given me such a much bigger platform. So
What's the joke that you always share?
We always say, what makes God laugh?
yeah.
Telling him your plans.
Right.
Because we think that's where we're headed.
Right. We think we're in control,
Right.
and this is what we need to be doing. And sometimes we get slapped in the face pretty hard to say,
Oh,
there's something much bigger for you to do in this world for so many others. And again, we choose sometimes not to listen to those messages and fight it, like you said, screaming and kicking. But when we can learn to let go of those reins and truly trust why we're being guided and why we need to do this, or we need to stop what we're doing because we were programmed to think that's what we should be doing our whole lives. And then when we finally let go of those reins and trust, wow, just the flow. And again, which brings us to the divine day, which I want you to share, because you know me, I'm that fifth child. Like, it's so exciting sharing your story, because your story is not like anyone else's. And this is what I want to share with anyone watching this around the world right now, is that of the tens of thousands of stories taking place, there's not one story that is the same. And it is so beautiful. And again, your story is so profound. So I want you to, I'm going to fast forward you to that day you were ripped off the plane, dragged to our office, not screaming.
No. With Lynn, I've learned just, okay, it's all good. Whatever happens, we're in the moment.
To say, but of course, that's what we're doing. So,
yeah, that's what I say. Of course, we're going to meet these awesome people about trees, because we were doing little snippets about our documentary about trees and Mother Tree and all that craziness with that tree in her backyard. But she had all these wonderful stories, and I was listening, and you all had these wonderful stories. And then Dr. Lynn, she gifted me the copper one first, and I was so excited. I mean, my heart was racing, and I put much thought into my intentions that went inside, and we left, and part of me, yeah.
Remember what the intentions
your first ones were? Do you remember?
A lot of it was, the first ones I think was like health and happiness and success and all these things, and I tucked it in there. And so I went out the door just like, oh, Kumbaya, this is going to be the most amazing thing, because everybody has the Kumbaya stories with these, and people came while we were there, and they were sharing their stories, and just, they were there to pick up more intention sticks to share it with everybody. So I'm like, wow, this is going to change my whole life, change my whole life. And that's not how it happened. not then,
Right.
So I left and wore it for a week or two, but it didn't feel right. So I took it off, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's one of my kids, and my kids had different things going. So I kind of gifted it to them, but it came back, it would always come back, and I keep trying, but I just would get this uneasy feeling. So then, like 2 years ago, we came, again, and I had it on. I had this on, and Lynn shared with you all what was going on. She's like, something's just off with Chalyce and the stick. So you all are like, okay, let's try the stainless steel. And so you put, Marla put this one on, and we blessed it, and I put it on, and I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. That's a balance. It feels better. I'm like, okay, I get that. And we did all of our thing. We had some great people, at the house, and I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good. I wore it for another couple of weeks. I'm like, yeah, not so good, not so good. I'm like, all these people, and I wasn't expecting, like, the angels to come down and the music to play. I wasn't expecting all of that. I was just expecting something, a shift. That's what it was, a shift. So I put him down again for another year, and my daughter gravitated towards the stainless steel one, and she went on a little journey, and I think she needed it for then, but when she came home, off. And one day I'm like, where is it? Where is it? And she's like, I got it here. And she had all tucked away in her special fabric. I'm like, okay. So I took it back, and I put it on. I'm like, So they were like on my altar. I have this little cat-proof place where all my precious things are at. And we were having a big hurricane coming last year, and it looked like it was going to come. And I'm like, okay. And we had some acquaintances that was needing some help, and they didn't have a place to go. And my daughter's like, Mom, we always help everybody, let's help them. And I'm like, okay. And something told me, like, no, but I'm like, how can you turn someone away if we're really looking at something serious as a hurricane? So that night, that's when I got it, so I got out of bed, and I grabbed both of them, and I opened them up, and I pulled all the intentions out, and I changed it. I changed it to peace. And I think there was strength. I mean, there was all the ones that, for me to have courage, all these things. I'm like, this is kind of odd, because I really don't have issues with all this, but I put them in there, and I put them on, and I went to sleep. Whereas in years past, when I try to wear it at night, I could not sleep. It would be just this weird energy, and not bad, not saying any of it's bad. It just didn't resonate with me. So I put it on, I went to sleep, I felt good. I got up the next day, these people came, everything was good. The hurricane averted. We just had a lot of wind and some rain, and it was good. And these people were showing signs of really wanting to get their life together. So when I see things like that, just get out of the way, because I'm like, I want to help them. So we did all these things, and had the husband set up with an amazing job with our friends, and just helping all this stuff, and they were just really doing well. So I didn't ask them to leave, because I was setting them up with a place to move into. I mean, we were doing all this stuff. And as time went on, like a couple of months, about a month and a half, things started getting a little weird, and there were some things going on. I'm like, I'm just not sure what's going on, but I could feel it. Well, then everything exploded, but exploded to me, not to them. So I had some suspicions there was some things going on, and I had to involve the police. And that required me to stay strong, to have the courage, because I had to let them stay with us still, with this big investigation going on. I mean, we actually did like a sting operation with my neighbor, and I had to act like I was okay with these people and not lose my cool. And when I thought it was all going to fall apart, and literally left the investigator's office. I need to switch real quick my battery. Left the investigator's office. There was nothing. You know, they're like, there's nothing we can do. And I just kind of did this and went, okay, you know. And as I was almost home, he called me. He said, we got him, but this is what you got to do. So it took another week of playing the game, so to speak, and we did it. I mean, we did it, and it happened in a way that it wasn't a confrontation, was not involved at our house. It was, if you can say, peaceful and easy for something so horrific that was going on. It was. And I stayed calm through this, and it's still ongoing. It's still going on. But the peace that came over me, and then when we connected, you know, after that, I was like, now I know. Now I know they were waiting. I didn't need it 3 years ago. I didn't need it 2 years ago. I needed it 6 months ago. Yes. But I had to see that and then look back and see, okay, all the things I put in it, courage and strength and all the things that I needed to be strong to deal with what was happening during that time. And I haven't been able, like, I've taken them off, but I keep hearing you're not done yet. So I don't take them off. I don't take them off.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's so powerful. And when you were sharing what you were going through months ago, it was incredible because of that journey. Like how we see this, it was, as we say, we're getting ready to get ready to get ready, right? It was preparing you for what you just said, for what was coming, to give you that courage, that strength that you needed to react or not react to what was going to be coming into your path, what was going to be thrown in front of you. Mm-hmm. And as we say, we passed that test. And what I love that I'm going to share with everyone that not too many people in the world can do right now, because when you say, oh, it was not allowing you to sleep, the energy that this receives, it is a part of the collective. And sometimes people may not understand what we say by that. We feel the energy of everyone, so to speak. And some people are very sensitive or very tuned in to receiving others' energies, healing. And we get that. And it is just, wow, it's so powerful of your journey. And as Marla and I say, every one of these has its own heartbeat. And you, what I want to explain, are one of the dear friends that wear two. And what you shared with Marla and I back when was, it is that beautiful yin yang, the masculine feminine, the masculine feminine, that you are being balanced. And it's giving you, as you said, that courage, that peace, the things you need on your journey. And what I love, even though you may not wear it, or you took it off, or you sat it down, you're still receiving those blessings, that energy, that courage, that peace, that health, whatever that may be. And it's incredible because we've experienced thousands of stories like that I've had it sitting on my nightstand and I'm feeling the energy from it. And that's why I say, or Marla and I say, each one has its own heartbeat. It becomes a part of you. And wow, I know it's such
I know. I thought I was missing out, but I wasn't missing anything, you know? And I just, for some reason, I just have to have both of them, you know, to balance. I am a very strong-willed person. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe with them together, like you said, the male and female, that it really gives me that good balance and grounded. You know, I feel very, very grounded.
That's amazing. And again, that is the tree of life. The roots we're literally rooted into Mother Earth, the subconscious, right? So we are grounded. And then, as I love you shared, you're not done yet, right? Because that's when we think about the consciousness, the trunk, right? Or the branches, we're still unifying, we're still growing. And as we know, we never stop growing. And this is the whole meaning of the tree of life. We're here to grow to the heavens above, the evolution of consciousness, the expansion of souls. And I just love how you said that. I'm not done yet. We're never done, right? We every day, and as you and Marla and I know, it's not being better than anyone else in this world. It's being better than who we were yesterday, right? And this souls you've touched, the gifts that you've given as well to friends and families, and how you've impacted so many lives, and that's why we're all here, right? To help one another, to serve, as you said. That's what brings us our bliss, our happiness.
Absolutely. I love that. And, it's interesting because some people feel an instant energy to the intention stick, and they manifest or create almost immediately. Yet there are some, maybe like you, who it wasn't instant. And there's a reason for it, right? Obviously, with the story you just shared. And so we say it'll happen right when it's supposed to.
Yes.
And you're going to receive when you're supposed to. Yes. And we just say pay attention to the messages, because this does harness your energy, and you are receiving energy. And we're all different beings. So as I said, we're going to receive right at the right time.
Divine time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just blessed. I mean, because who knows what would have happened, without my work, and without this extra the energy from that, because I don't think I would have handled it as calmly as I did, and to be at peace the whole time. To be at peace was something that was so intense on so many levels, but just like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Right. Trust the journey. We're always being guided. And that's such a beautiful message. And you were challenged. You've been challenged. And this is such a beautiful message, as Marla had said earlier, the gift. And we talk about this every day, the gifts that we receive. And as you know very well, the gift, the tragic car accident was one of the most beautiful gifts you could receive, because it projected you onto your correct path, your journey to reach so many more, right? That's why we said what we think we were meant to do. And just watching your journey continue to grow every day, and our family here, our relationship, and how we're watching this grow around the world and the souls, because I love that about, again, that beautiful message that Dr. Lynn received from Mother Tree. Again, we don't the messages, and we just have to share this with everyone. Listen to the messages. They're always in front of us. And do you remember, which I always laugh, do you remember the movie Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
So he's driving, he's all angry, and it's storming, and he's like, show me one sign, just one sign. And he's pointing up, and he's like this, and there's this huge truck of all of these signs: slow down, danger, warning, caution. And they're right in front of our face, but we still don't see them, because we're so tunnel visioned or so focused on everything but. And we just have to slow down and breathe. Again, Kundalini Yoga, breathe, be present, be in the now, and listen to the messages, because they're always there. And that's why we say sometimes we have to say, shut the heck up to this. Right? The monkey brain.
Yeah, the monkey mind, yeah.
listen to this because this is never wrong, and trust this. Trust this, your intuition, right? How you feel. So I love this again, sharing to someone that may not understand, like, oh, I don't feel right about this, or that's your gut. That is your heart and soul saying it's not right. Something's not right. But again, we still don't trust that weird feeling that we're receiving. That feeling is a blessing. That feeling is a gift to say, right? That's
Right, but most of us
Yeah.
ignore those messages, right?
right.
Until the oak tree finally has to fall on us for us to wake up, or we could have received it all along,
Yes.
right?
I love that analogy. And that's actually, talk about you as that analogy and explain that to what.
Well, you know, what Scott's referring to is, again, receiving the messages and paying attention, because sometimes we can get tapped on the shoulder with a pencil, and then it's a ruler, and then we get tapped on the shoulder with a 2x4, and we're still not paying
You're like,
attention.
nope, I felt that. No.
And then finally it's an oak tree. We're meanwhile, you could have received the same message all along from the toothpick or the pencil, and
Right.
and
Right.
it has to take something huge to rattle us to finally open our
Right.
eyes.
So what we're saying is, don't wait for an oak tree to fall on you where you can receive a message with the tap of the toothpick. Just listen to your body, right? It's giving you messages, or we say pain in our body, right? It's a message. Why am I, my neck or my lower back or my knee? These are spiritual messages that we, again, weren't taught, or we weren't educated to listen to our body, right? The messages are there, but so it's such a beautiful message to share today. Wow.
If there's someone who's watching and they may not be a part of the movement yet, or may not have an intention stick, what would you say to them, or why would you recommend them have an intention stick?
Well, me being, with the journey that I've had with it, and skeptical but never giving up, it's the intention. So if you're very mindful, or wanting to be mindful, or as I say, fake it till you make it, if you're really struggling, sometimes it's not where you're already in the zone, but you need it like right now, because fear is such a huge thing. When you have something that you can physically look at, that you can physically take the little pieces of paper out and put in there to set your intention, and I think one may even be hope, I don't remember, but it helps create that mindset. So if you're at the lowest low with the fear of what's going on, fear that you're never going to have a job again, fear about how it's going to be moving forward, fear that you're going to be sick, we have to let that go. And sometimes our monkey mind won't let us, but having something like this, that's an action that you can see, feel, touch, and wear, it's like mantras with me. So I would keep saying it and saying it till I believed it. With this, you can keep grabbing it, and you know what's inside. So I got hope, I have faith, I have courage, I am successful. I think that is something to do, because it's funny, I'll forget, and then they'll literally like hit me. They'll hit me, I'll do something, or they're all tangled up. And when I stop for a minute and I just relax, they come right back untangled. So it makes me focus, so it's a physical thing for people that can't get the out here. So it's, stick with it, fake it till you make it, because it'll happen.
Mhm.
It'll happen, and it may not be today or tomorrow. And like me being a little stubborn and not listening to my gut, and I'm a big angel person, so the angels knew that. Angels knew that I wasn't going to listen, that I was going to let this happen. So now they were like, okay, now tell her she needs the intention sticks. Tell her now, you know.
That's beautiful. And again, that topic keeps coming up so beautifully. Talking about spirit or angels that are always with us. And again, we're not taught these things, you know, growing up as a kid, or, you know, in Sunday school or religious school, or it's not a normal conversation that is had. And what I love, again, that we keep hearing this over and over again, not from the woo woo, you know, everyone thinks,
Right.
"Ooh, I'm going to win the lotto," or woo. And it's not. These beautiful spirits, our angels, are always around us, and they're there for us to ask for guidance or help or what we need in our lives, not for selfish or egotistical reasons,
No.
but for our journey, for the peace in our lives, for the success, not monetary, but success. And it can be, of course, but success for relationships or family or community projects we're working on. And we just have to ask and say it from our hearts, and watch what happens. Trust or believe this. And when you start to believe and you start to trust and you let go of those reins, which we've all had to do, watch the miracles unfold. And as Marla and I say, if we can just learn to get out of our own way, right?
Yeah.
Watch the miracles unfold. And you
Yeah.
are that. You are truly a miracle, because God, the universe, the source, the light, whatever that is to an individual, had much bigger plans for you, for everyone. And we all have the ability to be that miracle. Again, I am that I am, right? We're all made in
Yeah.
that image.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's why we say to everyone, dream big, or if your dreams aren't scaring you, you're not dreaming big enough. So we say, dream big, our brothers and our sisters, because you can make a difference in this world. Don't listen to the people saying, no, you can't. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty or handsome.
Right.
You can do anything you want. It may not be parting the Red Sea. It just may be that simple act of kindness or compassion or smiling or saying hi to someone and letting know another person exists and they matter. So
Yeah, because people start to worship the God of opinions, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? There's a lack of food in the world, a shortage of water in the world, but there's a surplus of opinions. And
that's great.
we have to push that aside and stop worshiping that, and come from within our own hearts.
Yes.
And go down the path, that exact path, the path with the heart. And that's when you know it resonates with you and that you're doing what your soul is here to do.
And you're being exactly who you are. And most people don't know who they are. So we say, be exactly who you are, because you're perfect just the way you are. You don't need to be anyone other than you, but we still don't trust that. So again, as you just said, and Marla just said, don't worry about what someone says about you or reacts to you, because we can't make everyone happy. And we've talked about this many times before. The harder we try to make someone happy and we don't, it makes us feel much worse. So it's not that we don't care.
I think so.
Take care of ourselves first to make us the best versions of who we are, so we can continue to help another.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and we are so grateful for this call. I know, like when we get together, we can talk for 9 hours. So Chalyce, thank you for your time, your love, you sharing your journey and your message, and all the beautiful work you've done for tens of thousands of people through your essential oils and your journey and everything you've learned to share with the world. So for this, we feel so blessed and grateful that all of you.
Love you guys so much. So
Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. And as we always say, sending you and your beautiful family blessings and intentions of gratitude, light, and love. And we love you so much.
Yeah, love you and Satnam, and hopefully I'll see you all soon.
Wait,
Right.
come to Arizona for a big hug. I know.
Yes, yes, I will. So love you all, and I'll see you
Love you.
soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.